Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. How was everybody's weekend? Kathleen McGee, John N. Janelle is here. Oh, Michelle D. Yes, it's going to be leave. You don't have to go hunt, honey. Yeah, so here's what I'm doing. I'm not exactly still using OBS to log in for like that whole pre-schedule thing, but I found out as long as I'm careful and I don't push live by accident, like I did on, oh gosh darn it, there's sound on this thing. This is great. I'm skipping. But the thing is, we don't need, oh gosh darn it, how do I turn the sound off this thing? Here we go. Volume off, okay. And the whole point of having this is so I can see everybody talking, right? So how do I find my chat again? You know, I'm just never gonna win where it comes to this stuff. Wow, I can't see the chat. It's not gonna do any good if I can't see what you guys are saying, because I'm gonna have some questions for you today, to guys. So I guess I'm gonna have to, give me 1 second, move out of this channel, close it, and move back in. Yes, I can see the chat. And I see Pab Dabney saying, hey players, hey Pam, are you the young lady that cuts up the skins and resins on top of them? I'm gonna wait for her, and I'm gonna put my gloves on. And oh, I printed a list for you guys, and now I'm gonna have to go off memory. So, but Pam, no, then there's another Pam. So there's a young lady who is, most of her time she's bedridden. I've got to find her name. Her work is incredible. And what she does is she takes her acrylic skins, cuts them in the shapes of, it could be abstract, but she does a lot of the monstera leaf stuff. And then she, I think I would resin the skins first and then try to apply it to the glass. But she puts it on this glass, puts the skins on there, resins it. Her work is beautiful. And when I saw Pam Dabney's name, I've been trying to remember who this person was. So I thought it was you, Pam. I'm so sorry. Hey, Cindy, how you guys doing? We got Janelle in the house, John in the house, Mel Jill D's in the house, Saskia's here, Sharon McCabe is here. I have to scroll all the way back. Janelle, no, you guys are in the right spot. Okay, so let's talk about epoxy for a minute. And John, I know you're an epoxy player right off the bat. So what are the most common, how do you use your epoxy? What do you do with it, John? What kind of art are you doing with it? We're going to actually see what John's answer is. So I'm actually waiting to hear John's answer because I'm not exactly sure what he does. All I know is he likes his epoxy. But is it abstract art? Is it coasters? Is it the Daniel Smith stuff or Daniel Cooper? Basically resin. Okay, so are you casting them in molds or doing abstract art? Because there's a lot of different ways to dip your toes into this new bathtub or swimming pool if you've never played with resin. Probably one of the easiest ways is just get started with a mold. It feels like, okay, it feels like you have control, right, when it's in a mold. It's something you can do with a project with, 9 years old up. They're probably fairly responsible as long as you've got a responsible 9-year-old that's going to follow your instructions and what you tell them to do and be careful. But yeah, molds is a great way to get started. And I saw somebody, by the way, John, the other day, and I've got to figure out how I can organize it on my table. They had taken an old piece that they'd laid resin down on. It was okay. And they went over with a translucent blue violet, let that set on that layer, and then she did an actual Dutch pour, laying the colors in the certain patterns, and blew the, or she had one of those tips that gives you your point, right? And she was blowing it just like a Dutch pour in the resin. I'll try to find the link to the video, but it just seals the deal of what Judy Sand told me when I first started. She said, Leslie, it's only paint. You can do another layer. I'm like, even in resin? Yeah, I can do another layer. But the easiest way to get started is like a mold. I even bought some, they're back in my box back there. I need to get them out and play with them. I bought some bookmarks. There's little holders you can put a lighter in, like if you're gonna light the fireplace. There's plenty of earring molds. Yeah, John, we need to get you to get a YouTube channel and make you come part of the team. Oh, Saskia, did you ask? Now, yeah, is there any videos, like Saskia's asking, are there any particular videos or artists you'd like to follow? There's not that many up there focusing on resin. I will say that Mooncusser Art, MOONKUSSER, Janet Rockware, she's very experienced. And I remember watching her video way before we could get those mixed media boards that have that hard surface with the cardboard back. Those are fabulous now because you can use those. They're rigid enough to practice on, and they're not that expensive. You're not, you know, committing to a 16 by 20 or 20 by 24 beautiful kiln dried wood in your life. For me, I suffer from blank canvas syndrome, so on wood it's even worse. I mean, I'm like, oh, in panic many times when I'm facing that gorgeous kiln dried board because I'm still feel so much as a novice as far as how to manipulate it. I got no problem with coloring it. I can teach you how to color it, though to manipulate's another thing. Now, if anybody, I'm just going to do some shameless advertising. If anybody knows Daniel Cooper, okay, thank you, Michelle D. Great way to start is, what is it? What did she say? Great way to start with letters. Oh, you mean like little letter molds? That's cool. Yeah, that's a great way to start. So here's the shameless thing. I sent a message to Daniel Cooper. Now, I don't have somebody in a marketing department to hand a list and say, you know, send out a thing where we want all these people to be affiliates or represent us. And I'll tell you right now, with the whole blowing up social media, a lot of YouTube artists, and Saskia can probably attest to this, and anybody else in here that has a channel, we're getting inundated by people saying, we want you to represent our camping equipment. Well, I don't do anything that's related to camping equipment, but if I had a beautiful potted orchid in my back and you wanted me to promote your orchid food, maybe. So when a manufacturer reaches out to these YouTube artists, it doesn't always land well. It's not that it's a negative, it's just that, oh yeah, someone else. And yet when Judy Sand, no pressure Judy, would reach out and say, hey, I'm just an artist. I love this product. You might want to consider fooling around with it. They'd love to send you a sample. I'd say 90% of the people better than that she reached out to all said yes. That doesn't mean they all played with it, but they said yes. And so, yeah, see, 5 offers a day is what Saskia is saying. She's getting 5 offers a day. So if anybody happens to know Daniel personally, let him know that it was a legit suggestion to send him some Purely Pigments. I just see him doing that swirl with that galaxy thing. And if he was to drop, I would go with the pure color in there. You know, he's using alcohol ink. I rewatched that video. So he's got a drop of alcohol ink in the middle that looks like a big planet, and then 2 drops to either side that looks like 2 little round planets. He's letting the resin get kind of tacky so he can do that little swirl, right? And you got to make sure that thing is Claire's Crafty Corner. Tell her about the Purely Pigment, sweetheart. But I would love to get something in Daniel's hands, even if he doesn't do it on camera. I would just love to have him experiment with it because the guy's got such an experimental mind. Hey there, Sheldon. Have you decided if you're going to do prints? I sent you a message this morning. If you guys didn't catch Sheldon Briscoe's video in the Winter Dreams event, you got to go do it. It was a fantastic piece, and people were bidding on it, may I say, in the middle of the event, fighting over who got it. And I think at this point, if you do prints, I'd buy a print. It's a beautiful piece. So I suggest you guys go watch Sheldon Briscoe's channel. He did a beautiful piece in that event. It was amazing. And he's a chef by day. Shameless advertisement for him. I don't know. He can probably tell you where he lives in the feed in the area. Chef by day, but a master fruit and vegetable cutter, if I've got that correct. There's probably a better way to actually explain that. But when you see these beautiful, gorgeous tables displayed with the food, and they've turned a butternut squash into a butterfly, that's Sheldon. And so when he started his YouTube channel, I'm sorry, Sheldon, we're talking about you. He kind of got cornered and got into the corner of everybody knew him as a master bloomer and could make a gel medium out of pretty much anything, out of the kitchen sink. And so when we started these events, I think just because of the popularity of that particular technique, he kind of stayed in that groove. And boy, the first time we ever saw him pick up a brush and do brush painting, that was it. I mean, he's a really excellent brush painter. Not to take away from the pouring, but you have other things to offer there, Mr. Sheldon. Okay, there's my shameless punch for Sheldon, only because that piece came out so beautiful. So people are using molds. People are doing abstracts. People might take a perfect round mold and wait 8 hours into your 24-hour cure time. And then you can take it out. Now, it's not going to be sticky. It can't be sticky, but it'll still be malleable. You can mold it. They'll take it and put it into a bowl and make a trinket dish. And you're very welcome, sweetheart. You're super talented. So, and while it's in that tack time, I'm going to keep talking about this in these videos. Somewhere between that 8 and 24 hours, the resin has what they call a tack time, meaning if you brush on chameleon, interference, micas, gold, copper, bronze micas, what happens is the resin receives it, grabs it, and it becomes permanent part of the finish. It will not rub off. Once that 24 hours is done, it's on there. It ain't going anywhere. I had a long talk with a lady on the phone yesterday who's doing casting forms of humans and animals. And I said, so what are you doing to colorize it afterwards? She said, well, the typical thing is a patina or a bronze. I said, did you know that you can actually rub on the mica powder during tack time? She goes, what's a tack time? It's like 6 to 8, 9 hours. You have to, like, if she's casting it, it's going to be a little bit longer for her. But if you can pull it out of the mold and it's still a little bit malleable, it doesn't even have to be malleable, but if you can pull it out of the mold, and like if say you're going to make a trinket dish, it's kind of a fun way to do it. Or even just do the edges of something while it's still setting up and then stick it back in the mold, right? So you want to do a coaster. So when it's at that 8-hour time, you can still pull it out put gold all over your edges, put it right back in the mold, and it's going to dry nice and flat for you. But that's just a fun little tip that you've got a tack time there. So, all right, so what I'm going to do today is probably way different than a lot of you thought I might do. There she is. Your ears must have been burning, Miss Judy. I was just talking about you being the master of reaching out to companies and suggesting that they try products from manufacturers, and that you do a better job than me because people are really resistant when they think it's a manufacturer. And they were very, Harley, off. Harley, come here. Okay, we're not going to kick him off. We're just going to pull him off. Right, he's about to come under the camera. We have a little situation here. Yes, look who's here, everybody. Harley, okay, go on. He knows he's not supposed to get up there, but if I sit and bang and clank something and he knocks it all over, it doesn't benefit anything. Yes, that was Harley deciding that he had to come up and see what I was doing. Yeah, he's gorgeous. So my point, Judy, is that people are more receptive to, you know, some classy lady saying, hey, I'm an artist, you need to try this, than coming to me, than me trying to go to them. I went to Daniel Cooper and sent him a message. I've had no response yet, but okay. So, like I said, today's going to be a little bit different. Yeah, well, it's fun. All right, so this is an old piece I did on a tile. Okay, now, yeah, it's a big, I think it's a 10 by 13 tile. Now, I can't say I did this with a pattern, but I want to give you some ideas about how you can draw on this stuff. So I actually took this image off of Pinterest and created a little grid and actually drew my turtle. You can see there's a white Posca pin. Okay, so then what I did is I took resin art and a little bit of alcohol and rubbed it. Oh, Saskia, I thought you'd seen this one, honey. So I kind of did an alcohol ink treatment on the back with resin art, a green and a turquoise resin art, let it dry. Then I transferred my pattern, okay? Now, again, I drew this on a trace, not even a tracing paper, because I actually hand drew this. Her turtles are easy to draw, by the way. So I drew this, but then I took the transfer paper, and you can buy graphite transfer paper. All this is this is like having pencil rubbed all the way on the back of the paper. That's all graphite is, okay? And then, so I transferred my pattern, okay? And then it's all painted with primary elements, and I think varnish or water. Because you can even paint with the water. Painting with the water is okay, because the resin is not going to move anything that's water soluble. If you start thinking about the solubility of your products and using them as a benefit to what you're going to do. Here was my thought, guys. I had this fantasy in a bathroom, especially the kids' bathroom. What if you inset 3 really cool tiles just on the bottom section of just above the bathtub? Would be awesome. And tiles and once this resin's done, this is water resistant. It's not going to go bad by the water splashing from the bathtub. I really thought that would have been kind of a cool way to treat just one section in the tile above the bathtub where the kids are playing, or me sitting in my bathtub drinking a glass of champagne and I'm playing, right? So, all right, I wanted you to see my turtle. I did this years ago. I think there is a video on my feed somewhere of me doing this, and you can see all the interferences that I went overhead and added some. Okay, so let's get the tile out of the way. And today's piece, the reason why I brought up the graphite paper is I'm going to show you, I don't know how well this is going to go across, but we'll see what happens here. So, say you don't feel like you can draw, okay? I found this image on Pinterest. I printed it off. And this is a very common technique. Let me just go on camera and tell you guys. Society of Decorative Painters, okay? There's an annual show. People fly from all over the world, but they're not there to teach you how to draw. They teach you that you're there to learn how to paint. And so I took several watercolor classes. 7 and 8 hour watercolor classes, but we transferred the image on with a pattern. Now, the artist usually provides a pattern, something they've drawn. It's part of the class. You get a beat up piece of paper of this. And by the way, the more beat up, the better. When you get a piece of graphite paper, you want to rub it into itself, scrub it all over, everything you can to rub off anything excess before you use it. But watercolor artists very typically will transfer their pattern with this. And you can see how I have taped off this section. Then my graphite paper, I have it on the top of a notebook so you guys can look at this, right? And then you slide your graphite paper in place, but this image is taped down, okay? And then what you do, you can take a pen or a pencil, you just had it here, or a stylus tool. Darn it, guys. It's sitting right here when we set it up, but Harley may have dropped it off. Even a pencil, but a stylus tool is, say, maybe a dotting tool, something that's just got a smooth edge on it. And what you do is you draw over the pattern completely. Now, these had a lot of lines, way too many lines, but I've already done the transfer as to not bore you guys with this part. And you can see it'll give me a black and white or black design. It looks like I was on last week's page. Okay. So it'll give you the area, it'll give the design, it transfers it for you just like I drew it. Looks strange? Well, this was a swipe that we did. And if any of you seen her channel, she will take a swipe or a pour, block out the background, right? And then resin just the pretty sections, okay? And it's easy. The beginner can do it without, why hold yourself back because you feel like you can't draw? Now, I will say that while I was doing it, here's a close-up right here, right? And a little bit of the pencil mark. So I'm going to try to erase that off before I get in there because I'm going to end up, I just drew this about a half hour ago. So what I'm doing right now is any kind of lines I need to clean up, I'm going to get off of there. Just looking to see if anything else looks kind of skipped. It got a little bit messy. There's a little bit of a messy spot right here. A little bit of messy spot right here. There's a reason why I'm leaving this on here. I'm just making sure that the whole pattern all the way around the edge was taken, right? And then I can take off my image, right? It's not going anywhere. What did Judy say? I was last week's page, but I got to this chat, okay? So like I said, what you want to do is make sure this is the inside, the shiny part, just scruff it up. This has already been done. Scruff it up as much as you can, get the excess off, because the last thing you want on a clean, beautiful piece of watercolor paper or a white canvas is to have kind of a gray smear on there because the graphite was too loose, okay? Now, we're gonna block this out with white. I've been on the fence. I've been playing all morning with the different pins to see which ones I want to do. Quite frankly, I think this liquid gold leaf is the prettiest, but I'm not sure how long it's going to take me to try to vein that in for you guys. A pin would be much faster for the purpose of the video. But we're going to get started. I have some Amsterdam titanium white in here. I'm crossing my fingers that this works, guys, because it's been a long time since I've done any kind of color blocking, and that's what this is called. I'm going to block out the bat. Oh, by the way, here's the stylus. See what I mean by stylus? It's got a smooth point to it. This is a dotting tool they use for dotting, one of the smaller ones, but it works perfect to draw an outline on your paper without putting more pencil or tearing the paper down. Okay, so this is what I actually drew the pattern on with this paper, okay? And yeah, I think the first thing I need to do is actually just black that out, map that out. I really wasn't sure how I was gonna do this, kids, but I know I wanted to do this. I promised you guys we'd be doing something with this piece, and my goal of 2024, follow through, baby. 24, follow through and play with your paints more. Play with what's there. It doesn't do me any good walking by petting it. Now you can do it. But somebody's saying, talking about something to do. My point is, when we collect all these art supplies, it doesn't do any good just sitting back there, walking by petting and say, I own you. After a while, that that excitement of buying it just doesn't last forever. That's just a little bit of juice. Now you got to actually use it, right? So, all right, let's get this. Camera seems to be syncing on me, so we're going to move it a little bit this way. Oh, my phone just tried to flip out of me. So we may have to do an overhead. I'm hoping you guys can see what I'm doing. I have no way to zoom up on this. So just going to that brush of that ferrule wanted to come off. So I'm not sure if this brush is too fat. We may have to switch sizes, but at least we got a lot of canvas here we want to white out. And I'm literally just going to color block this out. I know there may be a more fancy way to do this, but this is what you'd be doing at home if you wanted to put in a white background, right? This is what Mai is doing on camera when she's doing this. The big brush will work for the really big areas, and we can go in with a smaller brush to get the details around our pattern. I know it's going to break my heart to cover up that gold. I'm in love with that gold speckly shimmer that happened. Now, it looks like the dancing fuchsia, which is the strongest color out there, is trying to make the paint background a light pink. So that just may be what happens. That is the dancing fuchsia. That's that rhodamine that tries to mix in with everything. There's only really one color that does that, and it's really strong, and yet we all love jasmine. We all love the pink diamond. And so to get that beautiful electric pink, we kind of have to live with what, it's going to do. I could have sealed this with resin first and done the second layer, but I'm not going to do that. We're just going to go with this. Let's get a different brush. Something smaller with a wedge. Get my water receptacle over here. So I've got something to work with. Now I've got a brush. What do you call that? Saskia, help me. The name of the brush that's got the little slant to it. The bristles are not flat, and they're a wedge. I forget the name of this thing. There's a specific name for that brush. Somebody help me. Come on, Sheldon, you know the name of this brush. So anyway, yeah, I just wanted to keep talking about different methods of resin. I mean, there's casting, there's the abstract, there's the molds. I'm sure if you guys really thought angle brush, really is just called an angle brush, really. I know I got a lot of color in there, but I'm just trying to get in here, get that leaf outline taken care of. I wonder if there's a way for me to flip this over so I can lay it down flat, but you guys can still see this. This was the logistics I was worried about. I wasn't exactly sure how I was going to show this on a live. It's much different than trying to do a pre-recorded video with my overhead camera, right? And I don't have to worry about how much you guys can see. Let's see what you guys are saying. I agree 100%. I read my, yeah. You know, a couple people have said something recently that they're really motivated. And a few were kind enough to say it was because of the lives. And I think that's really sweet of you guys. But hearing people motivated to pick up their paints, right? And do something with it, boy, that really excites me. That's a turn on right there, guys. Seriously. To see that happen, to see people actually get turned on and start painting again, pull out their colors. Even Miss Judy said that it had been a while and she was, I don't know if she's out there now, but she herself has said, hey, I'm ready. I want to do something. And maybe it's just that it's 2004, right? That's okay. But let's try to keep that momentum going. Let's not just have it be the month of month of January, right? Let's, make that commitment. I'm making a commitment I've never made before. I've never done lives like this in this type of format 3 times a week. And I don't know, something happened. I turned 70. It's kind of silly for me to make all this beautiful stuff and not work with it. So Judy's been on my butt for years. She can attest to this, to get off my butt and get back on camera and do something that I really love. And thank you, Miss Judy, for bearing with me all those times I resisted you. Because I didn't mean to resist you, I promise. I'm just stubborn, bullheaded, was a little depressed, thinking I wasn't good enough. And you know what? I'm not the only one that worries if I'm good enough. I think all of us go through that. So there needs to come a time when you just say, screw it, right? I am good enough. I need to wake up in the morning and look at the mirror and say, I am good enough almost every morning. I'm kind of not liking this whole painterly thing that's happening because my brush strokes are showing up too much. So I'm adding a little bit of water to this paint as I'm moving around. Just try to smooth this out. We need some more help with this small brush. Okay, so there's a line right there for my leaf. God, it breaks my heart going over that gold. But I know once these ginkgos are under resin, they're going to be beautiful. So that's kind of the point of doing this, right? Damn it, I had a little oopsie. I'm going to kind of... This is when I need a Q-tip. Where are my Q-tips? I don't have any Q-tips, but I do have a piece of a paper towel. Quick emergency. Take a tiny bit of water because I don't want that paint to dry up. I'm going to blot it off right there. Boom. So it doesn't matter if I swipe it into the white and I have to reapply the white. Just along my little petal here. There we go. Doesn't have too much on there. I might have bit off more than I could chew. You guys can laugh at me now, but I figured I saved some time with the having this all drawn first. But we'll see. Hi, Teslima. Yes, ma'am, there's a party in here. We're trying to make a party in here. I'm trying to block out the white and keep people entertained at the same time. And that's going to be a little bit of a challenge, but that's okay. This is where the party is. So, Taslima, what you missed is this was a transferred pattern with graphite paper. For those people that don't feel comfortable enough to draw, you are one of those artists that knows how to draw. By the way, Taslima also had a stunning piece in our Winterfest event. It was an homage to the golden antlered deer in this beautiful snowy forest. Lots and lots of detail to that piece. I recommend all of them. What am I saying? But seeing her name, she reminded me of this gorgeous piece that she did. Wow. I got to say, if you guys have not all watched, I mean, the group in here probably has already watched the Winter Dreams event. If you haven't, the playlist is on the front page of the ColourArte website. So you got a Sunday list and a Saturday list. And watch them all, collect the secret phrase, words to the secret phrase, submit the secret phrase by Friday the 9th, and you're entered into the $400 shopping spree. For those of you here that aren't aware of it, some of your names, I've already got your entries. I've already received them. But that doesn't mean everybody has, right? Yeah. So let's get in here. Let's get this detail part. The hard part is coming right around this corner. I'm not too thrilled with all those lines that that ginkgo image had. I drew too many of them on this first one on top. We'll be real selective. Now, I've seen people, when Mai does this, MII, she's using the PBO dimensional paint to get the veins. I could not find mine, even though I have several tubes. But even then, it would be too long to dry. Too long to dry and do it in the same thing. I believe I can get this acrylic paint to dry fast enough to we're going to do a resin layer. I've already got my fast set resin sitting out. There, it's not mixed. I just have a little tiny medicine cup of each one sitting on my table ready to just be put together and mixed. It sets up in 20 minutes. So that means it'll thicken up quick enough, because what you do is you just brush paint the resin on the ginkgos. We're not going to put it over the whole thing. We're not going to cover this thing with resin. I'm only going to do the ginkgos in the resin. And I guess I could go back and fix this white. I know after I've done my resin work, it's possible for the sake of the time of the video. I know you guys aren't going to want to be on here for 4 hours with me. Or I'm assuming you don't want to be on here for 4 hours with me. This is interesting because I haven't had to paint with this hand since I had this incident that numbs my right hand, and it's not horrible. I still feel like I've got some kind of control. For those of you that have a similar thing, you know, pick it up and try, you know. Art is art. And I know I obsess, is it going to look like I have it in my head? Well, no, that's a hard lesson right there to learn, that it's not going to look like I imagine in my head, sadly, but I can try to come close. But it's the practice. If I practice enough, eventually what I see in my head should come out close on the canvas. But if I don't practice enough, and that's what Fairy Art Mother's, one of my dearest friends, contention is, you're not painting, Leslie. Wasn't even just painting off camera, I just wasn't painting at all. And that's not good either. I mean, I make this stuff. Why am I not painting with it? I can see some comments. Already gone back and started watching this second time. You have? Yeah, there is some I definitely want to watch twice, Michelle. You are correct. Everybody's saying they think this is one of the better ones of all the events. I mean, everyone, even the artists themselves in the video, it's like everybody was so stinking proud of this event. I'm not just fluffing up your skirts. It really, really turned out to be a lovely event, and everybody brought something different to the table. I had to pinch myself. Can I just say? Pinch myself at how beautiful everybody's work was. So, yeah, I am one lucky duck to have all these, oops, sorry, this is off camera. I feel like one lucky duck having these people even affiliated with the ColourArte product line, right? How did I get so lucky, Sheldon? How did I get so lucky, Taz? You know, I don't know who else is in the room, but so as you can see, I'm still doing my white all the way around the edges. I'm not stressing if it's not a perfect white. I'm not gonna, I think it's gonna make it more interesting having not just the pure white background. I'm okay with this. You know, I may touch it up again after I do the resin. Just depends on what it looks like. Maybe after I do the resin, you know what? I can scrub some color over there, or interference, or who knows? Maybe having this stain, this pinky stain, is going to work out to be a good thing for me. It's another one of those beautiful, happy accidents that happens when we're doing art. Well, they say life is what happens when you're... I know they say when you make a plan, get ready for it to change, because as soon as you make a plan, it changes. You just have to go with the flow, man. Yeah, no stress while we're arting, right? Okay, so I got to get close to this one. This has a short little doohickey here, all right? The trick is to try to get in the camera so they can see it, Taz, while you're doing it live, and then holding it at an angle that everybody can see it, and still paint straight. I'm willing to take a stab at it if you guys are willing to hang with me. But I think you get the point of this exercise. If you can take any swipe, something that you've done, right, and turn it into more art. No luck, I needed quality products, wealth of knowledge. Who's making other plans? What are you making plans for? Oops. I'm getting involved in you guys' personal conversation. Sorry. So yeah, this is pretty relaxing. Sitting here just laying out some white paint. Now this has a little thing right there. There's a little thing right there, and the ginkgo leaf kind of splits in. And some of them, this is just a smaller one. And then let's get that edge right here. where the drawing went. Not something to write home about yet. Got to be careful. I'm really coming dangerously close right here on this edge here. I got to make sure I push this out. I don't want that white in here, and I don't know if that's that was a dumb move. A dumb move. I'm gonna do what I did before. Take a little water, push it back, because I can always put the white back in. I don't want that in there. There we go. I want that beautiful red sparkle there. I am gonna leave it pink. All I'm doing now is just kind of smoothing out the line slightly, but I am leaving it pink. And I don't mind the veins in it. It's kind of coming out interesting, right? It doesn't have to be the perfect white, but I do have to make sure that all the white is in the right place. Okay, so let's figure out these legs here end. So, I have a little spot here where I kind of went into the paint too deep. I'm gonna see if I can't take my wedge here. Come on, hand. Don't fail me now. I'm gonna have to lay this down. I want to kind of bring back the vein here. And so I'm going to try to remove some of that dried paint best I can. And then when I go over the pin, yeah, it's still kind of fading away there. I mean, you do have to decide where the end of the stem is. Is the stem all the way down to the bottom, or does the stem in here, right? Does the stem in here? Stem in here? Does the stem end right here? Right. Because that all those little details are going to matter when I'm going to try to brush this resin over the top. I'm just going to see if there's any spots I've missed. This looks a little bit funky in here. I mean, this is an exercise. If I was going to try to do this for myself as a piece to sell, I don't think I'd be doing this as a live, because there's the risk of the paint getting in where you don't want it, right? Everybody's saying something. Where do you live? Amazon Prime, free storage. Uh-oh, you guys are asking where people live? Probably not asking me. I'm in California. Fresno, California, land of raisins, fruits, and nuts. Just a town away from Michelle D. She actually lives pretty close to me. So someday we may see Michelle D helping me in the live, even just in the background. Of course, now I have my tablet and I can actually see what you guys are saying. Okay, so I want to let the outside paint dry. Is there anything I need to do? Yeah, we're probably only 25 minutes away. I see a lot of color in these leaves. Maybe this one, some color's gotten lost. This is the only one that I would probably enhance. I'm gonna put my white brushes down. I'm gonna leave that background kind of that crazy abstract. Let me get my top back on my white. Okay. And then color to hand paint in. Well, everything else kind of has that turquoise mode to it, right? So I'm looking through my stash back here. I have some Mediterranean blue. The Nantucket Dolphin Stone's a little bit too light. See, I was actually having to plan on touching that up. Now, here's the thing. If I touch it up with a pure metallic, then I'm going to end up having to use pure metallic on everything. So I'm going to take a tiny bit of Guatemalan green. It's a beautiful turquoise. And I just need a little bit in here. And water. I know you're going to be shocked that I'm using water, but remember, I'm resining over the top of this. So it's okay that I'm using water because resin is alcohol soluble and primary elements are water soluble. So when they get on top of one another, it ain't gonna matter. Now there's a lot of pink in here, so I can probably get away with just painting in a couple blues and an interference. And that, oh, you can't see me mixing it up. Sorry, guys. Let me move my camera back here so you can see me. So I've got a little bit of Mediterranean blue in here, a little bit of Guatemalan green in there, and I think I'm gonna use some interference blue. Yeah, I don't know, maybe varnish. Varnish probably would dry fast enough. We know that water's gonna dry the fastest. It actually will dry the quickest. So yes, we've got to touch this up now, right, Leslie? I got a lot of different brushes. Guatemalan green, I love that color, John. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, why I don't have a stack of pipettes is crazy. I don't have a stack of pipettes right here because I just want 1 drop of water. So guess what? I'm gonna use my 64th teaspoon. That's what this is. This is the smallest. Oh my God, my microwave's going off. The timer on the microwave, I had set it for 10 minutes and it went for 74 minutes, and guess what? Let me see if I can spritz a little water in here. Can you guys hear that timer? Because if it's not distracting you, I'm just gonna keep going. We'll just keep going. He can hear it. No, it's not dinner, John. Really, truly. It's just telling me that I tried to set it for 14 minutes so I could come in here and get on, and it did it for 74 minutes. I hit the wrong button. Okay, so this is thank you, Saskia. This is a little bit of interference blue, right? Okay, fine. I'm getting up and I'm going to go fix it. You guys have said enough. So I'm going to just brush some interference blue on the top of this lightly. And then do a tiny bit of the Guatemalan green on these tips. Ooh, that's really pretty. Oh my God. Yeah, I'll fix it. Give me a minute. I'm going to lay this down and then walk away, and we'll see what this is going to do. This is really, I have way too much water in there, guys. This is like trying to watercolor without really watercoloring. Way too much water on this brush. I'm glad you guys are all having fun with my trash collector sound. What can I say? So I think I have too much water in there. So here's now what I'm going to do. I'm going to just take a tiny bit of the pure powder, and it's all wet right there. Close your eyes, Sheldon. Because I can actually just take the pure pigments and kind of go in there and add back some of the color that was lost. Okay, now it doesn't exactly match, right? So it's gonna have to be softened. I really wish I remembered what color we used in there. But if I, yeah, that's really different. Your dog would go crazy. Ah, that's kind of a darker turquoise. So what are we gonna do to get that color? How do we fix it? This is gonna be the same dilemma you guys go through when you're trying to fix stuff. First of all, I have a little oopsie there, so I'm gonna fix my corner. Now the Guatemalan green is definitely greener. That blue, that Mediterranean blue is really, really blue. So I'm adding straight Guatemalan green, dry on my brush, and then painting directly into this moistness here. Painting with primary elements and straight water. Now that's a little bit closer. I'll put a little bit over here so it looks a little bit more balanced. Ooh, I'm not touching that one. Can you see all the little pretty gold speckles in that one? That ain't being touched. That ain't being touched. This could probably use a little help. But what I can do is take a tiny bit of the Guatemalan, because this looks like it's deer in the headlights right now. I could take a tiny bit of the Guatemalan green and maybe add a little bit to the stem over here. So it kind of looks like it belongs. If I put a little bit of this color in some of these others, it might not look so nuts. Remember, all I'm trying to do is add a little something, something before we go on top of this with this resin. Yeah, this is way, 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 way too blue. Let's get some of the watermelon mist and jasmine. I know you're all listening to that thing. Am I answering questions? Yeah. But this jasmine is probably the closest thing to this hot rhodamine. And so I'm thinking, God, I wish I just had some on my finger and I could rub it in. If I blend in some of this pink in here, that's going to tone down how blue that is. I need a dry brush to feather this in and out. So I want to feather it while it's wet. It's not an exact match, that's for sure, because this has a lot more red in it. But now it's not looking so, flippin' blue. You see me take my finger now? I got a little bit on my finger. And actually smudge it in, almost like you're moving a pastel around. Put a little bit over here so it feels like it's kind of matching. Under the resin it'll probably look fine, and we're gonna outline this. Okay, give me a second. We're gonna let this dry for just 1 minute. Yes, much better with the finger and just kind of rubbing the color in. It softens. That blue's too bright. So I'm turning off the microwave. Give me a minute. Everybody's already told me it sounds like the garbage guy's backing up to my house, which he did this morning. It's funny you guys would say that because it's actually garbage day. Okay, so we need to let this dry a little bit. So we're going to do a little show and tell. Because in the beginning, I talked to you guys about all the different ways that resin's being used out there, okay? And I have some blasts from the past, some pieces that I've done from the past, like the turtle, but there's more. I'm putting the tops on my caps here that you saw me just play with. It's a tidy thing, man. If I don't do it, I'll make a mess. I'll dump something over and it's gonna all get transferred. And believe it or not, I have the tiniest little bit of resin. As soon as I think we're like 20 minutes away, I'm gonna mix this stuff up. I just wanna let that white paint dry. I wanna let that one area where I added the color dry. And then we're gonna put some veins in. But in the meantime, I'll just take this off for a second. I was talking about different ways that people paint on resin. Now, I made myself go through this morning all the experiments I went through when I was coming out with the resin art. And Judy, by the way, she was around when this thing was launching, nudging me every step of the way. Thank you. So, see this really cool lacing that we got on here? I think at the time we were still using a little black stone coat and swiping the color over the top. But this was me experimenting with just blowing the paint around, okay? And again, getting that lacing in there, that really obvious lacing, I think, and I got a little bit in the gold. So it might have been using the black stone coat countertop stuff. Now, that stuff is basically like Rust-Oleum oil base. I don't know if they call it a varnish, but it's an oil-based paint. And it smells like turpentine. And how you use it, why my phone is now suddenly turning over. Sorry, I think it's the weight on the top. It's making it turn. It creates lacing, but it's the opposite. You don't go, yeah, MII is her name. She's amazing. You don't take your color and swipe it over it. You swipe the color over that. Yeah, but John, you can get it at the hardware store. They did sell it in those pots, and it was a one-shot use for countertop. And maybe they've figured out a better way to bottle it, because I remember when I met with them, I said, can't you put it in some kind of squeeze bottle that protects the shelf life? Because the end user, for the art artist, not the countertop artist, but the art artist, they don't need very much. So that jar needs to like last us. She does? Okay, so Fairy Art Mother's telling us Erica has another brand that will lace. That's Erica Bauer from Artist Till Death. And if she's got some lacing stuff, I suggest you go check her out because, by the way, she does beautiful work. She's another one. We got Mooncusser, I recommended you guys watch. You've got to see Artist Till Death. Their work is beautiful. Erica is so comfortable with blowing her colors around. Okay, so I got another piece for you. Now, when Arissa Rue did her piece in the Winterfest event, I made a comment because it reminded me of this piece I did, which was just, I was experimenting. This was just an accident. So I'll put this one up. So what I had done was this canvas was painted black and then resined completely. So it was resin first layer. Then when I saw Arissa do her piece, and you'd have to go back and watch it, she took raw canvas. Boy, that's a really big board. I got to somehow get the whole thing in here for you to see. So she had a good sized canvas and she strung her white around, made a pattern with white. She didn't fill the whole thing with white. She created this really cool pattern with the white. Then she did a ribbon pour over the top. And then any pockets in the white, she filled them up. And at the time, I saw this piece because this was, like I said, layer 1 was just black paint with black resin. Layer 2, it's hard for you to see the dimension, but see the dimension on that edge? I just poured this out, blew it, and let it dry. There's a little pocket here. You can see the black through it. And I just was an experiment to see what happens with a dimensional design on top of an already existing resin piece. Now, I had I known more about what I know, I might have pushed it in, pushed it out. I'm sure there's plenty of things I could have done. Uh, what's passion? What color you guys looking for? Happy to help you if you need some help with that. You guys are talking about a color called passion. So here's what it looks like pouring a resin on top of a resin and letting it dry dimensional. Okay. Now there's another one here. And you may remember this technique because you just saw me do it in the last piece. See those opal drops? This is what I was talking about. Yeah. So I was trying to, in the Winter Dreams piece, my resin split out too much. In this piece, I had done the whole bottom, and then I think the resin was just a little bit more set up. Can you see really up close what happens to those drops? See the shift in the opal in them. There's a video I did with this, so you can see how I did this. But this is the technique that's really turning me on. Being able to create my own droplet effects here, right here, what I was talking about in the other video. See how it looks like it's being extra shifty right there? That's just clear that's put on top of it, and it creates this, pushes it up some places and pushes it down in other places, and you get this crazy extra shift, okay? Of course, here I went nuts. I think it looks like I actually put glitter in this right here in this bottom part. I don't know what I was thinking, but I was going crazy. Yeah, it looks like dragon scales. This looks like some kind of spine. And this is, I think I did this in 2019. I mean, these are years old. Okay, last but certainly not least, okay? Because by now we're gonna be able to mix up the resin. As a matter of fact, I need to talk for a minute while I mix up that resin. Last but not least, this is my dump it every time I have extra paint piece. Anytime I had extra paint, it started where it was painted red. It was actually a tissue paper piece that I did with a gradient, and the whole thing was resin, and the bottom thing went, you can see here at the tips, it went from red to orange to kind of yellow to red again. I thought it was kind of blah. So what I did, look at that big lacing that happened. What I did is just started taking leftover paint. I'm loving this place, right? This is amazing right here. This is just crazy. Right here where that's shifting right there, that little spot. So like I said, what I started doing is anytime I had leftover paint, I just kind of put it on there and moved it. And so this piece has been gradually done, 18, 19, 20. I probably stopped in 20. Putting all the excess paint over. And I actually love this thing. I found it this morning and went, what the heck? Why is this not on my wall? Because it's just so unusual. Now I have to fix the edges. I mean, the edges are horrible. You can tell all the resin went off. So it needs to be sanded. And it's not a gallery wrapped, but dang guys. I really, I can't believe this thing's in hiding. I am gonna somehow put this up on the wall. That dark blue, now that's got black through there, but this is probably the, oh, Judy, is it? Damn, there's two blues. There's not, I don't mean Andromeda. There's two blues. There's the Belize blue, and what's that other blue, Judy? I'm blanking here. It was either Belize or the other, John, and they're in the regular luster pigments. They're not a Galaxy Diamond, because you can tell if it's real shifty like that, then it's the interference, it's the luster pigments. But look, you can actually see that layer one glowing through, that red-orange glowing through. That's that layer below, those two layers below. So I guess my point to this is don't waste your resin. Don't throw it away. Use it, right? We're gonna use it. All right, so our piece is probably dry enough to do something on. And then the question is, do I draw some of these veins? It's Blue Moon. Well, yeah, I think it's Blue Moon. It's either Blue Moon or Belize Blue, John. Okay, so when I played with the Posca pins, the ones that worked was there was a white, which I think would be a little bit stark on this piece. There was a black, which again, may be too stark. I really want to do gold, but we're on 70 minutes already. So, I mean, for the sake of the video, I don't think painting this on is going to be an option. This is a beautiful liquid gold leaf. And had we have time, I would probably draw the veins with a basic black gold pen and then take my liner, like a real thin brush, and go over the lines with a liquid gold leaf. But that takes a lot of tedious time and being really, really careful. And we don't have that kind of time right now. So I'm just gonna take this gold pen, do this as fast as I can. I don't know if having this notebook up actually helps, but I'm just gonna go right through here and draw as clean as I can and just take the gold and edge this thing, just so there's a little gold. Now dang it, well, it may not work. I thought I broke this thing and then I thought I fixed it because it's not really behaving. So then the other option is gonna be the black. I really don't wanna do it with the black. Like I said, I tested these, and the rest of those pins, you know, you're supposed to do this kind of thing to get it going and punch it up and down. I thought this pin was the same way, and when I did this to it, the tip pushed in. So whether it's gonna let me go over with the gold, it doesn't look likely. I might be able to get maybe a couple little veins in here, but I'm not gonna be able to do every single one that is drawn in here. I shouldn't say that. I'll try. That's the only thing about doing these lives is you have to figure out how you can do something in the time that you have and impart the message. Yeah, see, that gold, I'm gonna do one of them at least so you guys get the idea. That gold, I've got some tiny little brushes here. See, you can put the vein down with the gold pin, right? And then go over, oh, come on, open up bag. Some company sent me a whole bunch of these little liner brushes, and so it was nice to be able to pull them out today and say, hey, let's use them. I'll just do this one, even though it's not gonna look really good, but this liquid leaf, it looks like it's made by Plaid. It is a turpentine base material, meaning it smells like turpentine. It looks like liquid gold. I'm going to try to put the bottle out of the way and work out of the cap and see how fast this will go. If it goes fast enough, maybe we can use this, but I'm gonna wait and see what happens. Well, it's almost as fast as me trying to draw it. It's sure gonna be a prettier gold than, oops, you guys can't see that, sorry. It's a prettier gold than that pen, that's for sure. Even if just the edges are done. Just something to pop under the resin. So if you're at home, of course, you're going to take your time to do this right. You're not going to be restricted by, you know, the live venue that I'm in to try to show how to do this. I will say this will dry instantly and resin can go right on top of it. So this liquid gold by Plaid is a beautiful product. Can you see me? Yeah, it's a beautiful product. It will look great under the resin. I just had to see what this is going to look like under the resin. I don't want to ruin my piece and do it only halfway, but I don't want to turn this video into 3 hours either. So we'll have to watch our time. Maybe I can just do the outline and a couple veins in each one of them, because under resin, this is going to look stunning. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. The resin has a 20-minute quick set time. Once I get the outline of the other two done, just the outline, and I'm working on the third one, we're going to stop, mix it up just for a sec, right? And then we want the resin to set up anyway before we apply it with the brush. You don't want to put resin on and let it run. Remember, it's self-leveling. We don't want it to self-level out. We want it to stay just on top of the ginkgo leaf. If you're using regular resin like art resin, you've got to wait until your full working time is up and the resin starts to thicken up. Now, one of my last videos, we were at 80 minutes when I was doing those drops, and they were still flattening out. So that time frame that they give you on setup time, right? You need to watch your resin. It's not just a hard and fast rule. What if your environment is different? It's, ooh, this gold is really pretty. Even if I just do the outline, that's a really pretty gold. Okay, I'm glad I'm doing this. We'll see what you guys are saying now. Fair Art Mother says, "Oh, thank you." So I don't know if you guys are watching me and everybody's being quiet, but I don't see any comments to answer. Yeah, this is a stunning gold. It does have to be cleaned up with mineral spirits. It is not a water-soluble material at all. And just to protect my bottle, I'm actually going to pour, God, very carefully, a little bit out. That's probably way too much. So I can close my cap, because being that it's a solvent, it's going to dry really quick. Yeah, this gold is beautiful. It's such a pretty gold. It's the Plaid Liquid Gold Leaf. It's called Liquid Leaf. Yeah, I would definitely be using this, doing all my pieces if I was going to, hey, Janelle, if I was going to be doing pieces that I want to sell, heck yeah. Those gold pins aren't going to stand. They don't have a candle. They can't even hold a candle to the stuff. And you could take gold mica and water and very carefully vein it. I recommend you use a very, very ultra fine, just plain gold. You don't want the large particulates when it's coming to try to get a fine line like this. A clean gold. This is the risk of painting. There may be an oops there. I'm trying to smooth it out. Okay, here's the risky part. There's one long vein in here. I'm going to try to go straight down into there. And I'll just be selective. I won't have to do every vein. Well, gosh darn it, I can actually paint. It's not perfect, but it sure feels good to pick up a paintbrush, guys. Remember, that's graphite pencil. I can actually erase all those other lines if I want to before we resin. right? So I don't need all these little lines, but I will take this one big, long one here and commit to it. I'm committing. Let me commit. Talking to the paint. I don't know if you guys ever talk to the paint, but I talk to the paint all the time. Or I talk to myself or the universe and say, come on, brothers and sisters, mama needs a new pair of shoes. That's not horrible. I mean, it's not perfect veining, but we get the point, right? Without having to have all those darn lines. So I'm going to do this. I'm committing to this thing. I'm going to do it right. Hope you guys can see me do this. Like I said, follow through. I promised I would finish this, and we're going to do it. The piece that I did at my cornucopia event, we've done that second layer on. I'm determined to finish that radiant glaze kind of sunset thing I did. I just, you know, putting stuff off and saying I'll do it later. Yeah, you talk to the paint, D. I talk to the paint all the time. Come on, baby. Mama needs this to work, right? There's people watching. We better make this thing work. Okay, I've got I'm gonna pick which vein. I think this is there's two. There's one vein here that goes down. Let it fall into that. It's a little bit thick, but oh well. And it's my ginkgo leaf, right? So I'm gonna do another vein right here. That goes into that one. Don't be in too much of a hurry, Leslie. They'll all wait for you. Ha ha ha. We hope. If you don't, you guys can always watch the replay, right? So here's another one we're just going to commit to. And I have to finish my edging around this. Sorry if I'm turning it in a way you guys can't see what I'm doing right now. I'm going to try to make it more visible. Maybe I could do it from this side so you can see. But I'm going to edge the whole outside of this thing. Got a little bit of a fat line, but oh well. Come up here and kind of meet it with another fat line. I'm sneaking around the corner and kind of dipping my gold in the cup. You can't see me do it, but I am replenishing the gold as I need it. Let's see if I can go all the way down with this one stem. Let's commit to the one stem. Oh my goodness. Kathleen, when you messaged me and wanted me to do moon rocks, I didn't answer you back because this was already happening. I'd already drawn my design on this thing. So I knew I wasn't going to cover the moon rocks today, honey. I know you asked me to. Maybe we can play with them on Saturday a little bit. It's a long project because you have to split them and lay them down. And yeah, there's a lot to it. So I know this stem's turning out to be more gold than not, but I just kind of accentuating that stem. Let's go back up here and get our veins in. Let's see, there's another. I'm going to commit to this one because it's coming right out of that design. I'm going to commit to this one. Oops, no, no, no. Don't run on me, gold. Oops. That's normally you would not be holding it up and tilting it to the camera. Hopefully this won't happen to you guys. Okay. Try to get another gold vein here. Yeah, that gradient piece, we're on the second layer now. Now I'm going to start adding in gas clouds, and I'm thinking I'm going to do a layer of resin on top and then kind of do a glass cloud because when you look at the sky, even this morning, and I'm not living at the beach, it looked like it was going to be a clear sky, but there's these little streams that are going across that create patterns. And I think that'd be beautiful in there to add a few of the gas cloud streams or whatever those things are called in there to make it more interesting. This is kind of turning out fun. It's whimsical. It's my piece, right? It's my piece. I can do what I want. As long as you guys are hanging. Now I got a little sloppy there. I got to be careful. My right hand is, I got to be really careful. My right hand is giving me some trouble here. So I'm going to find a vein right here and try to commit to this a nice, clean, long line. Okay. Looks like I had a smush. You see the smush? I can't really do anything about that gold smushing there, but I can put a little white paint on here after it's done to touch up the white area. Didn't mean to do that. I know I'm picking it up and tilting it back and forth. Okay, last but not least, we got one more over here. Now, if you have that PBO dimensional paint, like I said, I couldn't find mine, and it wouldn't have dried in time anyway. But what you do is you fill in the outside of this, like your outside outline, and then the few veins, and it helps keep the resin in, right? It acts as a little bit of a barrier when you brush your resin over the top of it. So well, I can't believe I actually got some gold veins on. You know, where there's a will, there's a way, I guess. This looks like that part's going to want to dribble. I got to be really careful. I don't want to smush it again. So I'm going to try to commit here with the vein. There's a little extra puddle there I'm not too happy with. Again, that looks like a chance for me to make a mess. So let's go up to the center here. Gosh darn it, guys. Sorry, I'm trying to get the right angle to do this. And still make it so you can see me. This has a Y in here. That'll go. This has a little bit of a, ooh, that's too drippy. There's too much paint on the brush. That can go right here. Commit. 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 I'm telling myself to commit every brush stroke, right? Commit, commit, commit. It just makes me follow through and not give up, not push up that brush. Okay, now it's a little whimsy, but it's not bad looking. I'm curious what it would be interesting if we had a black background, but I don't want to paint it black because we don't have time. Now we're going to mix up that resin, and that alone is going to take up the 3 minutes. But I have a little bitty cup of the hardener, and this is that 5-year-old quick set resin that I've had forever, and we definitely know it works. So we're going to, you guys can't see my cup. Okay, so what we're gonna do is I'm gonna scrape both of these off in this little cup. This gets hard in 20 minutes. So I should be able to, in literally 5 minutes or sooner, be able to brush this on. If you waited till 15 minutes into the 20, it might even be better, right? But we know, now I know it's yellow. That's the one thing with hardener, after a few years will turn yellow. But unless you're trying to do something completely clear and white, it's not even gonna show up. Let's see what timer we got. 90 minutes and 10 seconds. So I want to get to at least 92. This is the thing about the resin play days. And yes, Judy sent me a cool little machine to mix this for me. I still haven't. I've been so busy, Judy, working on website stuff and the sales stuff and trying to get the blog organized. There's going to be a blog section on the website soon, folks. You can see my face while I say this. We're working on a blog section that will, wow, the phone is trying to, see, what are we doing, folks? Don't tilt down while I'm talking. But we're going to have a section for you guys that, the weight, something is making this camera slide down, and I don't know why. I don't know what's causing this. We can't have that happen while we're doing this. I'm just tightening this thing up in the back because maybe that'll help. But the, I forget what I was saying. Now I forget what I was saying. Somebody says, I'm happy this way. So are you guys still there? People still there? Nobody's saying anything. So the clock is saying 91:54. We got about 30 seconds. I'm sitting here doing this. So, yeah, so the blog. So blogs have not been used for a lot of years on websites, but it seems a perfect place to kind of set up a classroom, right? Hi, guys. John's saying hi. Sonia's saying hi. Audra's saying hi. Thank you, guys. Just so we know, Dee's still there. Roll call. Who's here? So the blog is a perfect way to start putting these lives in as like classes and sort of like a free classroom where we can break it down by, you know, how to bend light, you know, how to darken a red without using black, subjects that people might remember, want to go back and replay. The beauty is the products would be linked right there. So they have to, you know, obviously that'd be good for sales. So they could see, you know, right there what was used. All right, this looks like we're actually on 3 minutes. Hey, Christina. Wow, you made it, huh? We're 93 minutes into the video, and we are so glad you're here, sweetheart. All right, now, the trick to brushing on this resin, either you're going to use a brush you don't mind ruining, or you learn, I'm looking for my alcohol now, you learn to have some alcohol around. Big jug of it. So what you want to do is you could make sure you're using a synthetic brush, okay? You do not want a natural brush. The resin will eat it up. Then every section that I'll paint, I will drop the resin, the brush with the resin on it, in a little bowl of alcohol. You want to make sure the alcohol gets up into the ferrule of the brush and gets that resin out of there, or just use a really cheap brush you don't mind throwing away. Most of this, at least I love my brushes. I don't want to throw them away. I will say that many times I'll use a cheap craft brush, you know, the ones that are, let's see, I don't have a small one, but the ones that are like this, These are synthetic. They don't get ruined. They're what, $1 a piece? And if something happened to it, you know, it's not too upsetting. This is also synthetic. You can use a synthetic like this. This is a nicer brush, but it's got a really nice synthetic edge to it. I'm going to use this, knowing I'm going to clean it up in my alcohol, right? So we'll get this brush out. It seems to be just like the right size for doing these ginkgo leaves, okay? Now, we're not going to be able to put it on the notebook. We do not want gravity to do anything to our piece. So I'll move some stuff out of the way here. Oh, and one last thing I'm going to do before I go in and put this resin on, okay? I have some marks on my piece that I had put in when I was doing the lines. So I'm going to take an eraser. I know it looks funky. Take the eraser, see if I can't remove it. If I can't, now this was an eraser designed for a pen. Maybe it's the wrong style of eraser. Only thing is when you use these, if there's any kind of dirt on them, the best eraser you can use is those white ones or pink ones that look like they're, let's see if this works. I just don't want that black line on top of there, even if I could soften it. I want the color of the paint coming through. Oh, sorry. I want the color of the paint coming through. I knew when I was drawing them there was too many lines, but I didn't realize it would be so hard. Now that was not so bad. They pretty much came off of that one. It's just softening it out, okay? Hopefully it doesn't detract from the art. This one I was heavy-handed on with the lines, sadly. This one right here, I went a little bit heavy-handed. Hindsight, if I do something like this again or I use this pattern again, I'll be way more selective. But that carbon, see, it's just pencil. Now, I know some artists, probably Sheldon, when they're drawing a design and then they're going to paint over it, you can draw your design with a watercolor pencil. And as soon as you're using acrylic paint over the top, it'll just kind of fall right into your painting. So where the pencil line does need to be removed, the watercolor, even the watercolor pencil, you can smudge out with your fingers, right? Comes off a whole lot easier. Oh, this has a beautiful interference in here. I want to make sure those lines are gone. This is not too bad. We're coming off. Now, the ones that are left are just going to look like those are veins when you see what I'm talking about. You can't hear me? Your sound's off? Can everybody hear me? Another roll call. Just yes or no, can you hear? Saskia's saying she can't hear. And I don't think I turned my sound off. Marjorie, you can hear me. Okay, good. So it's Saskia is happening on Saskia's connection. And it is not the YouTube live. Yeah, this pencil's coming pretty. Now, all I know is when you saw me start to use this, I literally ran it back and forth until it was completely clean. You don't want any of the previous thing that you've erased, you know, because it sticks on the back of your eraser coming off. Okay. So, looks like we're good. My hubby's watching TV. Ah, okay. And I've got my resin here. Now, I did it at 90, so we're 9 minutes and 25 minutes into this resin. It's still looking I don't know. Can I brush this on? Now, we're not going to be able to do it at an angle. I'm going to have to lay this down. There's no other way around it. Gravity is not going to be our friend. Now, I'm going to try to stand up and do an overhead. Let's hope this works like when I did my gradient painting. Bear with me, it's a small piece, so I should be able to just fly right over the top of it. Well, maybe not. I don't know if we're going to do it where we're going to be able to not have the shadow of it. So we're going to start at the top. Okay, I'm going to try to do this standing up, kids. Because I think this is going to be the best angle to see this. Now, I'm hoping this brush isn't too big. If I have to grab a smaller emergency brush, there's a little something, there's a little runaway hair in this thing. We don't want that. I kind of want the gold to get hit with the resin too. What did you guys ask me about? Oh, this image, Pinterest. I can send you guys the link. I found this image. There's lots of them on Pinterest. I just happen to like the shape of this one. But yeah, Pinterest is a great place. What you do is search ginkgo leaves or search rocks. Like Maida's beautiful. When she first started doing this technique, she was kind of taking rock formations, drawing out rocks, put the highlight, put the shadow, right? And then she'd block out the back of everything that didn't have that rock formation. Her work's beautiful. And then she kind of, I keep getting hairs. Keeps giving me extra hairs coming out. She kind of graduated to other shapes, right? But she started with those rocks that she did. Now, as far as getting that resin down in the stem, you're going to laugh at me, but I'm back at wanting to play with my syringes again, because the syringe is going to give me the perfect amount of resin to put right down that vein. There's another runaway. Boy, this thing's giving me way too many pieces coming off, guys. I can't see anybody's comments right now because I'm busy focusing on how this brush is pushing out to that edge. So if you're saying something to me, I'm not going to answer you right now. I'm more worried about making sure this resin gets where I want it to go. Do I have it in every section there in this thing? I can't tell without lifting it up. Did I miss anything? I missed a spot right there. I need a much smaller brush. So I'm about to grab a favorite paintbrush I really don't want to use, but to do the, uh-oh, we're already hardening up. See what's happening? That's crazy. It's probably too much in there. If there's a term, Judy, can you tell them what the term is? If there's too much resin in the cup, look what's happening here, guys. It's not even going to let me brush this on. Crap. Really, are we going to have one more video where I'm going to have to use art resin to save the day because my quick set up too fast? That's nuts. We only let it sit. I'm going to pull all this thick stuff off if I can. We only let it sit 9 minutes. I'm not 100% sold on this quick coat resin. So I want that one section right. This is hardening too much. So one more time, the quick coat was a fail. So what do? Now I can go offline and finish this up with regular resin and show you how it turned out. I don't know, we're already at 105 minutes. I can also show you on Friday what happened. I think what I'll do, but you get the point. I think what I'll do is I'm gonna take some art resin. I'm gonna end up finishing these other 3 here. But what I'm gonna have to do is let the art resin sit the full 45 minutes, right? It's gotta set the 45 minutes or it's because the art resin's working time is 45. And like I said, it was very liquidy to me when we were at 80 minutes when I was doing the droplets. So what I'm going to do is take the art resin, I'm going to mix it up. I'm going to let it sit the full 45 minutes and I'm going to brush it on in those sections. And I guess I'll just show you on Friday because we are at 106 minutes. I don't know. Do you guys think I have time to mix up art resin and do this? Are you guys going to stay with me? Let's do a roll call, guys. We got 21 people on. So, and then if I let this one section that was done with the quick coat completely set up first, when I go over with the art resin, yeah, you will. I think, you know, Marjorie, though, I've just kind of like, you know, we've shown how to draw it. We blocked out the back. We put in our veins. We did the gold lines. It's, you're not doing anything? Okay. Well, I don't mind. I got some art resin right here. Let me, I just feel like it failed. And yet you do realize here's the thing, we don't have 45 minutes to sit around and try and wait. Yeah, but that's the problem, guys. We don't have 45 minutes. You have to let it sit for a complete 45 minutes before we brush it on. So I don't really think that's feasible. I don't think that's a responsible thing to do. I don't have something else to show you too. I wish I could entertain you for another 45 minutes while we wait. But I think it's to everybody's best interest that I finish the way it is. I'll explain what I did. And you'll get to see it in Friday's live. Throw it out? No way, Miss Fairy Art Mother. Never throw it out. Remember, you're the one that taught me it's only paint, Leslie. You can go over with another coat, right? It's only paint. So, all right, well, here's our finished piece so far. It's kind of interesting. I think the pink background's kind of interesting. Wasn't exactly how I planned it, but hey, this is how the art journey is. This didn't turn too bad. I wish it had a slightly deeper turquoise like this, right? Let me entertain you. Yeah, John, let me entertain you. So a little bit of business. The 39% code goes off Sunday night. Monday morning, you will find that it has disappeared and possibly on Monday morning, you guys are going to be surprised with the new next 10 colors of the Purely Pigment Pure Colors. Everybody's been asking for more of the Crayola crayon set. So I'm going to get those recipes done and off to the lab. They'll start production on probably Monday when I make the announcement. It takes us about a week and a half to make it. As far as orders, we're pretty caught up. Everybody that had the bright gold back ordered, good news, the yellow is on its way to us right now. I'm just waiting for it to drop. So that's really good news that the bright gold that we had to back order, there was like 20 people I emailed or called personally and said, we're back ordering your bright gold metallic. We ran out of the yeller. So those are being split shipped. The yellow's inbound to finish the bright gold. So we'll have all the color that we need to do the next release. I'm going to announce it Monday after the 39% off code is over. And what else? Oh, the Winter Dreams event. You guys still have, I probably said this in the beginning, you still have till the 9th to watch the videos, all the videos, submit your guess at the secret phrase, because somebody's going to win a $400 shopping spree. Just ask Miss Sherry Ellis if she's in the room. She was the very first person to win. I had some lady the other day saying, yeah, right. I never win anything. And I emailed her back. I said, don't ever say never. That's exactly what Sherry Ellis said when I called her on the phone. And she's, but I never miss anything. Who said I'm just, if you're, oh no, hun, fairy art mother. No, we'd have to wait a whole nother 45 minutes. I don't trust that stone coat. It's seized up way too quick. So I'm going to finish this thing with some art resin and literally let the art resin do its whole 45-minute thing and then brush it on. In the best interest of the piece and not having everybody sit here for 45 minutes, right? Waiting for the resin to be thick enough to brush on. But the Winter Dreams event still is happening. It's up, even though you may not have made it to the premiere live and be able to chat with all of our affiliates. The event is still up for everybody to watch. Make sure you also comment down below the description because we are drawing a name out of those comments. Someone's going to win a $50 prison pour kit on every one of those channels. And then we got the $400 shopping spree. So make sure you watch the videos, show some love to our affiliates. I got to say, this hands down is the best one. Now, if you want the playlist, go right to the front page of the website, and the playlist is right there. It says playlist Saturday, playlist Sunday. The list will pop up, and it'll just start playing for you and going through the videos. What'd you say, Catherine? I don't usually either, but spoons. Did you win the spoons for me? Someone won a set of spoons, and I don't know who that is. Is that you? Someone won that set of measuring spoons I gave away that day. Catherine, message me if that's you, because we can go back and watch the video, but I really don't remember. And I think we said get a hold of me. You did. Okay, because I have the set sitting here. I got the little box here. I'll make sure Andy, our shipper, gets it on Thursday. So you can add it to your order, sweetheart, or we'll just pop it in a box and send it to you. Anyway, have a beautiful day. So glad to see you on Tuesday that you guys could share your time with me. My name is Leslie Ohnstad. I'm the creator of the ColourArte products, and I'm your host for ColorPlay Live. 3 days a week, Tuesday and Friday at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, and Saturdays at 9 a.m. So glad you could join me. Thank you for being here, and bye, guys.